Yo, what's up? It's your boy, AlwayzCookz24, and we're back with our small wrestle talk. Special guest, you know who?
It's me, Spade, everybody.
You know what I'm saying? Yo, man, I hope y'all like the shirts. Had to throw that in there. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
dope.
We got my boy Flash, you know, it's one of my favorites, so I had to throw that in there, you know what I'm saying? So, back to the wrestle talk. We're going to start back with Cody's run. What are your thoughts on finishing the story? Now that he didn't finish the story, like, where do you like where it's going now?
I'm going to be honest with you, man. On Cody's run, I feel it's a little boring. Mm-hmm. And the reason being is because I've been in that predicament before where, you know, fans and stuff, they want to see you. They're going along with you on the chase of the title. Mm-hmm. You know, you trying to get here, you trying to dethrone the current champion. They want to see you dethrone the current champion, but they don't want to see you defend the title. Yeah. It's like once you won it, it's like, okay, for them, that's good. For some other ones, it's like, all right, you know, they kind of want to see you defend it, but for the most part, it's been a little lackluster, you know. I'm like, he's had some, don't get me wrong, he's had some good matches, but his feuds hadn't just been like, you know, over the top. Oh my gosh, I got to see it. And it hadn't been anything memorable for me. Now, like with this feud with Kevin Owens, I kind of like that, but at the same time, it's like Kevin Owens needs to beat him right now. It's like, you know, I know they want to give him the whole year run into WrestleMania, but KO needs to be the champion. I was really banking on him winning the match at the Saturday night's main event back last month, and I was like, when he didn't, I was kind of like, it's kind of a head scratcher. Like, okay, now where do you go from here with KO? Because now Cody done beat him, and he's done been in other title matches before and gotten beat. So, what do you do with him?
That's a good point too, because I also, you know, when he first came back to WWE, and you know he was putting on, you know, match for match, SmackDown, Raw, wherever, pay-per-views, taking the beat downs. You know what I'm saying? Remember the match where he, you know, was hurt? Was that the one was hurt and you could see it? And you know what I'm saying? So finally we get to what, I mean, he didn't main event in what, 2 WrestleManias or 3?
2.
2? He
did 2, but he main evented both nights of last year's WrestleMania.
So now we're at the point of, okay, you done finished the story, like you said, you know, like what's next? So the beef that he got going with KO, you know, we seen where that storyline stemmed from. Everybody was friends, and then because of him not being friends with Roman and them, but just joining their fight.
Right.
So that right there made it interesting for me, because it's like, okay, I see his point, but I also understand what happened and why, you know, they had to join that fight. So so, you know, as of now, I kind of agree. I agree with you. I feel like KO should win that belt sometime soon. Get it from him, but he got to start fighting back for it again. So, and what do you think could make the run? Well, the run that he on now, and before we get to WrestleMania, like what do you think should happen, or when should he lose the belt? Should he lose it before WrestleMania?
I think, he should lose it before WrestleMania. I think he should. If he didn't lose it at Saturday's main event, he's got Royal Rumble coming up, and I know that's going to be a short window from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania, but it can still be done. You know, it's not like it's unheard of for a champion to lose the championship before WrestleMania, the new champion to walk into WrestleMania and either walk in, you know, out as a former champion or still champion.
Okay.
So it's not unheard of. It can be done. But I think now's the time to pull the trigger on it, and it's like, hey, let KO win it. You got another pay-per-view between now and WrestleMania. He could get it, you know, Cody could get it back. Because I think that once he loses the title, he might gain some of that interest back. And once he, you know, if he regains the title, people might stay with him. But far as for, like you said, he has good matches. It just hadn't been memorable feuds. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of lackluster. Like from the champions that came out of WrestleMania or SummerSlam with the championship, Cody should have already dropped his.
Okay.
Some of the other ones should not have, maybe should not have, but yeah, I feel Cody should have dropped his because I'm like, it's just not hitting for me.
Okay. Now from fan to the business aspect of like what you know behind the scenes and how, you might think that they run it. Why would you think that they would let him stay champion and keep doing through these little obstacles, even though your story is finished?
He's marketable.
Okay.
And relatable, like his father Dusty, a man of the people.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, yeah, they're gonna keep it on him because it's like people gravitate toward him.
Okay.
And it's something in him that they can relate to. It's just like a character in a comic book or in a movie or a TV show, somebody that you can relate to. So they relate to Cody. And, like I said, the marketability of him, you go to pretty much any WWE event and he's going to be one of the top merchandise sellers. They have a lot of his merch on the wall and, a lot of people are buying it. Not just kids, but adults too. A lot of people are buying it. So that's probably the biggest reason, one of the biggest reasons why, just being marketable.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good way to put it too for understanding, fan wise, you know what I'm saying? We want who we want to win and who we want to lose. But when you look at it in the business part, the marketing part, putting butts in the seats, he do it. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. Next one we'll talk about is the power driver move. I'm seeing it used more often. Also, JJ put me on it too. Like, man, I've been seeing that move used a lot more. You know what I'm saying? In most all of the.
I think most recent I seen it in AEW.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I can't remember who did it though, but I remember seeing it. Yeah.
And I've been seeing it in TNA. And then what happened and then KO. With the Tiger Drive or whatever. And then I remember
who brought it back? Was it with Randy Orton?
KO.
KO did Randy Orton like
that.
And
then
he caught Cody like that on after Saturday night's main event.
They cut off the air.
Okay. I also remember what's my man name from AEW, the flips and all that. What's his name?
Ricochet.
Not Ricochet, the other one. The first one. The one Ricochet was going against.
Ospreay.
Remember old dude did it to him.
Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah. So I'm saying. And actually they was teasing that that Ospreay wouldn't, because they banned the Tiger Driver. You know what I'm saying? But blah, they brought all that back. So it's like, okay, you know what I mean? So what's your thoughts on just that, you know what I'm saying? Because at one point there was really no move that was outlawed.
Right.
And then now they're bringing the move back. Because some people didn't even know. I didn't even know that it wasn't outlawed. I thought they just wasn't using it. But, like, talked about the chair shots and this and that, later off the record we was talking about that. But what's your thoughts on that, the power driver move and, you know what I'm saying, just some of the outlawed stuff and that's coming back? Like, are we missing or something?
Oh, I like the move being able to be used again and not being overused.
Okay.
Like it's because back in the day, we, like you said off the record, we talked about how finishing moves are.
Yeah.
And now certain people do finishing move. Now it's not special anymore.
Stay right there. Put a couple of names on it. Name some of the moves.
Okay, like the Canadian Destroyer for one, the flipping power driver.
Okay.
DDT being another, because when Jake the Snake did the DDT,
that was it.
Exactly. You wasn't getting up from that.
Yeah.
Now everybody do a DDT. It's a desperation move now. Even when Sting did the reverse version, nobody was getting up from that. And now you see people do that, it's a desperation move or whatever. So I feel like, moves like that, like those three, a regular power driver, a flipping power driver, a DDT, should be protected. I'm old school that way. It's like these are moves that were devastating, and reason power drivers were outlawed was like a lot of wrestlers were not protecting their opponents. So, neck injuries, paralyzations, things like that happen.
Owen Hart and Stone Cold.
Right, exactly. So, when things like that happen, yeah, they're gonna take this move away because I'm like, now you're taking somebody's livelihood away from them. And so in that veil, it was understood to take it away. Now it's good to add it back, as long as it's not overused. And like with KO dropping Randy or dropping Cody with a power driver or a version of a power driver, it sends a message. And it's like, yes, it's igniting his feud. It sends a message like KO is unhinged and he gonna do anything he can to win, to obtain his objective.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, it makes a lot of sense. I feel good about that. Just like I said, don't overuse it.
Okay. Cool. All right. And as far as moves you like to see again or don't overuse, like what's one I know you just said what's the one that you like, the Canadian?
The Canadian Destroyer.
Okay. Is there any other moves that you might not have seen in a while that you would like to see again, as long as it's used correctly, not overused?
I would like to see a torture rack.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to love Lex Luger's torture rack back in the day. I've seen I was watching TNA, I can't remember who did it one time, but somebody did torture rack and I marked out for it. I was like, hey man, it's pretty good. They brought the torture rack back. I would like to see that move come back.
And then okay, now let's go to the pros, now let's go to the cons. Excuse me. Knowing that somebody can get DDT like a Randy Orton, hang him off the ropes. Or the DDTs where, they'll Hurricane Rana kind of style, but yet still be able to kick out, or maybe they not go for a cover and they just lay there to the first person, get up before 10. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's some of those that you would like to not see, like, actually, like, see a match won off of a finisher that should be finished? You know what I'm saying?
Oh man!
And I know DDT is one of them.
DDT is one.
I got one too. I mean, I think Stone Cold said it best himself. The stunner is supposed to be the end of a match.
Yes.
But you got KO. It's a setup move for him to the pop up power bomb. Or
I'm glad he changed it now to where the stunner is the finish, but you just don't. He's not in matches where he can use it much anymore. Another one, like you were talking about before, JJ, the super kick, sweet chin music. That's one that's way overused. I'm like, if you're gonna do, if I'm putting together a wrestling match and I'm in the ring with either one of y'all, and I say we get to this point where it's what we call the double down spot.
Okay.
Now you're taking the crowd, you getting them here, you going back here, you getting them up. You're going back down there, it's time to get them back up because it's almost time to take the match home. If you're coming at me and you done beat me up and blah, blah, and I just won't stay down, but I know if I don't strike quick, that you're going to beat me. You running at me, might come with a clothesline or whatever, and I hit you out of nowhere with a super kick. Then we're both down. Now, it's supposed to take, the dramatic effect. I ain't going to be getting up on the count of 4 or 5 or same with you. It's like, I done did all I could. Now, that's one thing because, like I said, that's what's called a hope spot or a desperation spot. But if I'm, just using it regularly, it ain't nothing special about it. It's just like, why are you throwing 300 super kicks in one match? You done kicked my brains out. I ought to have a concussion by now.
Yeah. Like when they had KO on them handcuffs and they were just
and the Usos would kick him. I was like, yo, man, I love y'all, but that's enough.
Yeah. One of the most perfect matches for me on the dramatic level and moves being used level, but in the correct way, was Triple H, Undertaker, when Shawn Michaels was refereeing in that cage.
Yes,
like
in the Hell in a Cell.
That was one of the best, if not one of the best dramatical matches. Because when Shawn Mike super kicked Undertaker, and then
Triple H hit him with the pedigree.
And then when he kicked out, how Shawn Mike did like this, like, man, I messed up. But I felt it. Like, I felt it. You know what I'm saying? Like goosebumped up. Like, I felt it. Like, oh, man.
They were telling.
It didn't work.
They were telling a story.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about it. Like, this was a story being told. Like, I was there live for that match.
Oh, God.
And it was like the energy in the building was just like, like I said, that roller coaster I was telling you about, that's how the crowd was. 'Cause when HBK kicked him, everybody who wanted the Undertaker to win stood up and was like, no! And, you know, people that were kind of like, you know, the few ones that wanted the streak to end, they were everybody like, oh my God, is it happening? Is it happening? Is it happening? You know, it was that type of energy that was in the building. And so it's like, that made sense right there. HBK was like, all right, you know, Undertaker done roughed me up a little bit, even though I'm the referee, you still can't put your hands on the referee. Yeah, I understand why he did it. It was for that reason, not only because Triple H is his best buddy, but at the same time, like you said, once he kicked out, Shawn was kind of like, you know.
I messed up.
Yeah.
Dang, I messed up.
And so it's like, all right, in that sense, yes, use it. But if you have, like you were saying earlier, a man handcuffed to the ropes, and two people sitting up here kicking him, I'm just like, okay, at this point, you know, like, he dead weight now. You know, you beat a dead horse, it ain't gonna move.
Yeah, and, you know, also, last point on that, NWO. Every time Macho Man, every time Ric Flair, every time they would get the ultimate beatdown. And they done it so much to where it's like, oh, who y'all beat down tonight, man? Oh, here we go. One man running in the ring.
Yeah.
Here we go. One man running in the ring with 10 people. You're not going to get far. Here we go. And it's like, man, they got so boring to where it's like, okay, what else y'all got playing, man? Because like this, we just watching this over and over.
It's watered down.
You know what I'm saying?
Like watching the same movie, expecting different results.
Right.
That's all it was when it came down to the NWO and so many other factions.
So,
man.
You know, just to touch on that point. Also, the New Day turning heel. So I like it because I want to see how far they're gonna go with it. But I really hate how Big E got done. You know what I'm saying? I can't let that go. Like I'm the storyline got me.
Yeah.
I hate how they did Big E. You know what I'm saying? Then when he said, you know, my neck, y'all. And they were like, man, you wasn't coming back no way. And I'm like, golly.
Man.
So what's your thoughts on that? What do you feel like the New Day storyline will evolve for them as we just the year close out?
First of all, I didn't see what transpired. I didn't see coming. Because I was like, all right, I'm pretty much figuring Woods gonna turn heel on Kofi.
I was thinking Kofi was going to turn on Woods.
A lot of people were too.
You know what I'm saying?
They teased it for, how long did they tease that?
Oh man, they teased that for months. So it's like, again, long-term storytelling.
Yeah.
They got us.
And it was like, all right, when it came down to it, like, you know, they kept talking about the New Day's anniversary and blah, blah. I'm like, that's when it's going to happen.
That's when it's going to go.
We go see it. But I never anticipated them two, Kofi and Woods, turning heel on Big E.
Man.
Major curveball. That
like, what in the world? Like, y'all were just arguing last week. And here y'all turn on him, and it's just like...
And he's like, I'm going to be y'all manager. I'm going to be there every step of the way. And I'm thinking, okay, y'all can turn heel now. Now y'all got Big E on. Okay, now turn heel. Now.
As a group.
Yeah.
Now turn heel. I'm like, no, don't turn on him.
Like New Day, Dark Day, you know, just anything that... I don't know. I think I would have been dope if they would have did that.
Yeah.
That would have been tough.
That would have been excellent.
For them to be like, you left us. I got injured. What you mean you left us?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that for that aspect, man, it's just like, you know, when they first put them together as a group, they wanted, and they tell this on their podcast, like Vince wanted them to be preachers. And the crowd rejected it. So they turned heel as a group then.
You know what? That's true, because I remember they were saying it testify. Like
like Devon Dudley and stuff.
So that's where that voice projection come from with Big E.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
All that, yeah.
And so then after that, you know, like after a while, the crowds, they kept entertaining, the crowd started taking to them, and then they just loved them, and they had to turn them face because the crowd was going in that direction anyway. So now with this, like being a big swerve, because I think there were a lot of talks about breaking up the New Day. And I know most people were just like, man, don't break up the New Day. Like, you know, don't break them up. So it's like, okay, well, what way can we break them up but not break them up? Now you have like, oh, well, Big E's out. We can turn them heel and still keep them together, but it's still like, I guess they're the New Day, they just kick him out. And it was just like, watching it, I'm kind of like, what are you guys doing? Like I said, I didn't see that coming.
Right.
Like, at all. I'm like, oh my goodness.
So let me ask you this. Now I'm asking you as I'm asking you a question as a booker. So basically they got the key to open and close that door because the key to open the door was y'all turn on Big E. The key to close that door and bring y'all back is y'all let Big E save y'all. Y'all love Big E again somewhere down the line. Might be 2 years from now. But the minute y'all tell Big E y'all sorry, y'all back in everybody's hands again. So, but that might be a long time coming,
right?
Which it probably will. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that's one thing that I can see on being an old school wrestling watcher and being able to predict stuff. Sometimes right, sometimes wrong, sometimes you be halfway right. But I feel like when everybody start loving New Day again, it'll be something to do with Big E.
If E can come back, and I'm not so sure that he won't come back. I'm like, I still have a lot of hope that he'll be able to wrestle again.
I hope he do too.
And I'm like, but if he comes back, I would love to see it. What I would love to see, this is just how I pictured like fantasy booking. Big E is taking on them two, but he needs some help. And the one person that would come to his aid, R-Truth.
Wow.
I don't know why I would book that, but I'm like, I guess because I just love R-Truth, man.
I love R-Truth too, man.
And I'm like, man, that dude, like, that would be funny.
R-Truth is a more.
Did he get attacked recently from behind?
Yeah.
Who? It wasn't Drew McIntyre, was it? No. It was
Cause they put him out.
Was it Gargano? No. It was.
I think it was on Raw.
If it wasn't Gargano, it was the other one. Cause the other one turned the heel.
Ciampa.
He going on. He getting back where he used to be.
Gargano turned too.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, both of them turned together.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they beat the Motor City Machine Guns to regain the tag title.
Dang.
Yep, they turned here together.
Which I was surprised Motor City won them belts.
First night.
I was surprised.
First night.
That's that storyline. That's all that was.
Surprised that they won them belts. You know what I'm saying? Glad more props to them. I'm glad they did, but it's just, and they are a tag team that can say they won belts in different organizations.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Now they can say that now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So if that was their one only WWE win, I'm glad they got it.
Yep.
Because they are some good wrestlers. I mean, they showed out in TNA.
Oh, yeah.
And, let me see, TNA the only place they wrestle, is it?
No, they wrestled in New Japan.
NWA?
I think they did NWA for a minute.
And Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
That's just a guess.
Before Tony Khan bought it, they did that, and now WWE.
Okay. All right. Jay Cargill and the thing that's going on.
Man.
Mystery.
The mystery.
Who done it?
So, where do we start? Like, what do you feel about that storyline?
At this point now, I don't want to see her feud with Naomi or Bianca. It's just like, I know they the number one suspects or whatever, but I'm like, man, it's got to be somebody else. Whether it's somebody that's not on the roster, whether it's somebody that is, but it's like not there too. Because the first thing people pointed to was like, well, now Naomi's in the tag team champion or whatever, so she did it. But no. And then Nia Jax didn't help bad enough. Like, Bianca, you were jealous of Jade, so you did it.
Yep.
Like, you really? There's nobody else on the roster that could have done it? Like, yeah, of course there is.
Is somebody we ain't seeing?
Right.
That might be planning a comeback?
Yeah, like, just Charlotte Flair.
You know what I'm saying?
I know watching Royal Rumble last year, I watched that spot where Bianca and Jade had... one had Becky, and I think the other had Bailey, if I'm not mistaken, over in the military prison. They just let them go, and they just sat there and stared, and the crowd like stood up to their feet because I was like, man, that's the fantasy matchup everybody wanted to see.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, I wanted to see it coming in too, but I wanted to see it where they feud with each other first, then become a tag team, not be a tag team, and then feud. Because I'm like, it's kind of played out. Like do it the other way.
Years,
like
man.
do it the other way. Like man, let them feud boom 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 boom, and then like after a while like, but nobody gets like a definitive win over the other one. Like that's how I would book it. Neither one of them. Everything might be going to a draw, and then all of a sudden they realize like, hey man, we can't beat each other. Nobody else can beat us either. Why don't we just team up?
Tag team.
Yeah.
Or have somebody just come in and interfere every match.
Right.
You know, you can do that. You know, they have a way of making every wrestler looks, you know, still look strong without having them take a loss like that. So, you know, we shall see.
And if you had to make a guess on who you think hit her the girl with that car, who would you think it would be? Now I ain't gonna bull job you. I even though the Glow is my girl, you know that from back. I bought her shirt. I still got your shirt, girl. But I at one point I thought that it could have been her. I thought it could have been her because of being the number 3 when it comes to the
big three.
Big 3, and then you know thinking about the 1 or 2 superstars that's on the bench right now, waiting to come back. It's a good way to throw their name in the story. You know what I'm saying? And whoever those names might be, I'm gonna let everybody guess. Put it in the comments if you don't mind. But you know, there's 2 or 3. You know what I mean? That I could see. You know that happening. And all I know is I hope it ain't Bianca. I really hope they don't twist it to make it her, because if it is, now she's got to be a heel.
Right.
And I don't want to be her. I don't want her to be a heel. It don't matter what I want, but it wasn't look good. You know what I'm saying?
They've been flirting with the idea of her man. Montez, yeah. If them getting a singles run and also turning heel as well, because they remember they was with Bobby Lashley and them at one point. You know they was doing their thing, and I don't know what happened with that situation. I don't know if it was Bobby's contract, or it just wasn't a working situation for them to go forward with. I don't know, but I was interested in it though.
It was a little bit of both, because like Bobby said on a few podcasts, I think Chris Van Fleet being one of them, that he was one of Vince's guys, but not Triple H's. And so it's like, I understood what he meant by that, because I saw like once when the whole thing with Vince broke out, like in 22, and he, abruptly resigned, I saw how the product was different. I kind of started, gravitating back into WWE at the time. But I seen what they were doing with Bobby Lashley, which wasn't a whole lot. He was in, mid-card status, and like a lot of people were wanting to be back into that main event status. And he's like, he never got there. Like, they wasn't doing that. It was like, okay, well, we're going to put him with the Street Profits. We're not doing anything with them. It's like, all right, great. But then you put him with that. You try to turn him heel. That don't work. And then you want him to be in between. That didn't work. And because the crowd, like, really did not want to boo Lashley and the Profits. It was like they wanted to cheer them. And then you add B-Fab with them as a manager because you wasn't doing nothing with her. Like, okay. Now all of a sudden, Bobby's gone. Well, what's going to happen with the Profits? B-Fab has turned out, like, I've seen her work recently. Like, she can go. She has improved. She does a great job. Still, I mean, like any other wrestler, you still going to need some work, because you're not going to, be perfect your first time out or whatever. It's going to take some time. It's like, but let her have her shine, her time to grow, and keep pushing her. With the Profits, I would do just a clean break, like we talked about earlier, before, a clean break with them. Like, you don't have to have one turn on the other. Just break up. Yeah. Like, hey, Montez go here, Angelo go here. They go for the mid-card. Both of them might win mid-card and then elevate to the main event, the world title status.
Well, yeah. Do you think them splitting up, but what if they happen to put them on different brand? Like one of them end up on Raw and the other end up on SmackDown. You know what I'm saying? Like how the draft does. I think that would be a good way to do it.
I like that idea too, so they won't have to cross paths.
Right.
Yeah. Like, they had a tournament out of nowhere or whatever. And, they'll never have to just, go one-on-one with each other. I love that idea, actually.
Then bloodline. You know, that storyline has been going and going for the past 2.5, 3 years. My bad, 3 years,
maybe 4.
4.
Yeah, and we're gonna say 4 because it started in the pandemic.
With all he got that belt. I remember it was the TV screens. It was no crowd.
Yeah,
it was just the ring and the referee. That's all it was.
Yeah, dang.
Because Roman feuded with Jay, and then Jay eventually joined, and he convinced.
Was he main event Jay then or after?
He called himself that, but it was more of a nickname, not the moniker like he is now.
Okay.
And so it was like it stemmed from that. And then when he convinced Jimmy to join, then you have the bloodline, so that happening. So it's been going on for 4 years now. But
when it comes to the family, it's great how they, I don't want to say look out for each other, but be able to, that family name, you can see how much is sketched into the WWE letters because of how, the heritage, they keep coming. It's like they keep coming, you know what I'm saying? They keep on. Like, I understand it's probably about 2 or 3 more cousins that's coming.
God, man.
You know what I'm saying? I want to say is like 6'6", 6'7", like a big man, big man. And another cousin, and it's a female cousin. They got another one coming, so it's like,
Rikishi got another son. Like, damn, how many kids do he got?
Like, you know what I'm saying?
So he got another one getting ready to wrestle. Umaga's son.
Low key, they showed us that. Remember when Roman Reigns put that tree up?
Yep.
Like, if you was paying attention, he low key showed early. This coming, that's coming, but you had to look. You know what I'm saying?
Put it on pause.
It was kind of subliminal. Yeah. Like they, you know what I mean? And like, man, like.
Cause when Jacob Fatu was in MLW, everybody was like, "Yo, man, they need to get him. They need to get him."
And look what happened.
Ooh, boy.
So, where do you see the bloodline storyline? So let's say, there ever be a slowdown? Do you think there ever be a slowdown?
Eventually.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, because everything ebbs and flows eventually, but it's just like that particular piece has so many different pieces to it. That particular puzzle has so many different pieces to it that you're not going to know when it's going to slow down. Eventually it will. I mean, it might not be, this year, and it very well could be, but it might not be this year. But eventually it will, but it's just like after a while, I think it'll slow down. And I said this before, it'll slow down whenever Roman retakes control of everything. And when I mean everything, that means whether he faces The Rock at WrestleMania or sometime down the road or not, whenever he becomes, again, the tribal chief and can, get everybody in the bloodline under one umbrella, then you might see it slow down. And like at the same time, he might win it just to get it, just to dissipate it.
Now, let me ask y'all this, though. Roman retires, right? Nobody wrestles forever and all that. Father Time is undefeated, like they say on ESPN and all that. But how strong do you think you have of a bloodline once he retires? Is there still a bloodline, or do you see somebody that can carry that torch as being that top guy as far as the bloodline is concerned after he's gone?
I think it'll still be a bloodline. And to answer both your questions, there will be a top guy, whether it's, Solo, because he's, a little bit younger than the Usos. I think he in his early to mid 30s. And
how old are the Usos?
38. They're like a couple of months younger than Roman. Okay. So they're like 3 months apart, Roman and the Usos. So they're knocking on 40. But Solo's like 32, 33, something like that. So he still got a little bit of time. A lot of
time. Yeah, okay.
And then they have another brother behind them.
That's Zilla?
Yeah. And like he was talking about the other Samoans. So they have an extensive family, like a lot of family.
How old is Jacob?
I want to say Jacob might be 35, 36.
Because to
let's
me,
talk about fact checking. Let's check that out.
Why we do that? I feel like Jacob is the truth with or without the blood. Like I feel like he's
32.
Who, Jacob?
Jacob is 32.
Plenty of time.
The Usos, he 39. They 39.
Okay,
He said
39.
He's a year off then.
Yeah.
So.
August 22nd, their birthday.
Yeah, I feel like Jacob Fatu is one of the ones, with or without, he gonna have a dope
leading.
single run.
I
Singles.
can see him leading. I can see him leading.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Solo, I
Once
love
he get more
you.
into it. Like right now, he just playing
Playing his role.
sergeant. Like you know what I'm saying. But once he get more into it, because him and Solo will make a great match one day.
Yeah.
One day they'll be.
Because they were saying, they said it, like some time ago, they were saying it might be a swerve on his part. Even before the war game, they were saying, okay, Jacob's gonna turn on
Solo.
I heard that too.
Yep.
But
and
he's
he's gonna align himself with Roman, and you know that was just his. And then they said he was gonna turn on Solo and just do the lone wolf, like I'm on my own.
Yeah.
I'm bigger than this. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can fight all this. What you call it?
The Ula Fala.
The Ula Fala. Y'all can fight all y'all want. I'm gonna do my own thing.
My own thing.
That was a thing too. So shout out to WrestleMania.
Yeah. WrestleMania. Shout out to you. Showed up. You know what I'm saying? So, let me get back to my little list. Last one I got on the list, my favorite one to talk about with you, Cena's last run. You know what I'm saying?
Get down in the comments and tell y'all how y'all feel about that.
Please.
2025, John Cena, his last run.
Hustle, loyalty, respect. My boy.
With the opportunity to be Ric Flair's record. And
Yes.
Spade, I want you to go on that too. We were talking about that earlier about the whole Ric Flair. I definitely want to hear your thoughts on that. But, yeah, let's talk about Cena though.
You know what I'm saying?
So, I feel like with John Cena that, you know, I had really been a fan of his since he was feuding with The Rock in the early 2010s, you know. Because, I mean, Rock's my guy. Like, you know, Rock's just my guy. But I kind of miss Cena when, you know, since he's been gone. So, like, you know, for him to come out at Money in the Bank last year and say this is going to be his final run, and it's kind of like, it didn't hit me till then. It was like, what? Like, you officially retired? Like, nah, man, that can't be.
Don't sound right.
It really didn't. So I was like, all right, like, you know, like most people, what are you going to do? But he, from reports I've been reading, he is 100% committed to this year. Like, he's going to start this month.
Dates.
Yep.
Dates.
I think he'll be there tomorrow night on Netflix.
Yes.
And then, you know, he's going to go from there to the end of December 2025. And once that rolls around, that's it for him. Man. So I'm like, is it a very real chance that he'll win the title one time and break Flair's record? Absolutely. And we were, you know, kind of shooting the breeze before. It was like, yeah, man, I ain't going to lie to you. I kind of want to see Randy Orton do it, you know, myself. But if Cena do it, it's kind of like, okay. But at the same point in time, and I'm sorry for any John Cena fans. This might be, you know, kind of
I'm here, y'all.
I'm sorry for this, bro. This might be kind of an asterisk, but it's like he'll break the record that WWE recognized it, but he still won't break Ric Flair's record.
I feel that. I understand that. Being a historian, I respect the history. You know what I'm saying? So I can understand that.
If anybody understand what I mean, it's like Ric Flair was NWA champion. Yes. And so all of his title reigns count under you know, start with that. Yes. But the WWE does not recognize that. And I'm gonna say to a point. Yeah. And then like they'll start with a particular point in history and go from there. So like if you look up how many title reigns Ric Flair has, it's actually like 22 world title reigns. That's right. But it's like with John Cena though, like, man, if he wins it, I'm like, hey, you can't take that away from him because man put in his work.
He put in the work, and for me, like you were saying, like we were saying earlier off the rec, like, you know, being able knowing that I followed Cena since he started the Ruthless Aggression, and then that one era I missed. Thugonomics, I missed half of that. I came back in the middle of Thugonomics because remember he was wearing the jersey, the hat, all different type of shoes,
the big chain.
But then I noticed when I started watching, it kind of went away because maybe he didn't have the chain on with just the jersey, or maybe he would have the jersey off with the chain, just walk out there.
He was using that chain as a weapon.
You know what I'm saying?
Around his...
And then Hustle, Loyalty, Respect started, and I want to say they all started with the red shirt.
I think so.
Or was it the camouflage? He started wearing camouflage all the time. Then the red
the
shirt.
colors.
Because I remember that one WrestleMania, all the Cenas was lined up.
Yeah.
And he ran through them.
Yeah.
And then his comeback, WrestleMania, when he used to come in through the side. Remember he had the head down like that, and he come up and Triple H, Batista, and all them was in there. So, you know, been following Cena for a while, movies and all that. So when he started making his comebacks, when Roman Reigns was the top guy, or the TV was letting us know, we want him to be the top guy. Even though y'all booing him and he trying his best to be the man, still booing him. So it's like, why don't you just turn him on heel then? We've been telling him that. Just turn him heel then. And, you know, Cena came back. His mic skills off the chain. You already know. Cena's dope on the mic. Make a wish. I mean, #1 every time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I can see why it would be hard for Cena to make that heel run like that. You know what I'm saying?
He was real big on the tribute to the troops.
And it's stuff like that. So it's hard to be a bad guy when you got to do that. You know what I mean?
He was supposed to, and JJ, you touched on this off the record before, he was supposed to turn heel around his first match with The Rock at WrestleMania.
Yes.
There was another time after that he was going to turn heel. It was when Kmart was still in business, and WWE had this was around 2013 or 14, and WWE had signed a licensing deal for their merchandise at Kmart. He was going to turn heel then, but he had signed a lucrative offer, and like they had a lot of his merchandise and stuff, and Vince was like, well, you just signed a deal, so you can't turn now.
Yeah.
You know, like, you got to, Vince was like, you know, milk it for all it's worth. Get your money out of it. So that was the second time he was supposed to turn. It was just like, God, man. I remember being in attendance at WrestleMania 30. He faced Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
And the crowd was like, that was when they started chanting with his song, John Cena, sons.
Yeah.
The crowd was pissed that he beat Bray. I kind of was too, because it's just like, you know, in the business, we create new stars. We know we're not going to be around forever. You got to make some new stars. And I think that in a way, it did hurt Bray, don't get me wrong, but in a way it kind of hurt Cena too, because I'm like, I don't think the crowd would have had as much malice toward him if he had lost that match and Bray won. It's like, you, John Cena, we know what you done accomplished. You know, it's not going to hurt you to put over somebody else, but, you know, I mean, once you have a boss, you kind of have to, like, you know, do what your boss say.
You know what I mean? To win that belt 16 times, 17, 15, 14 times, because Orton right there. Orton next.
Let's see,
he had 15, or he had 14?
Cena's at 16. I think Orton's at 14. 14.
I think 14.
You know what I'm saying? And I can't. And
Triple H is next
closest,
with 14.
But he gone.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, Roman Reigns held it longer than anybody. So that's like.
But he don't have that many. He's not in double-digit title range yet.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, you know what I mean? That's a different topic for another day. That's an interesting question right there, because like for him to hold that title that long, is that just as good as somebody winning it over and over and over? But that also means that they lost over and over and over. So it's like, is it actually that satisfying to go that many titles versus somebody winning it and just not being beat for a long tail time?
It's kind of like to get off of wrestling for just a brief second. It's kind of like the debate of Jordan and LeBron.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you got somebody that's won 6 rings in a short amount of time that's never lost versus a person that's only won 4 rings in a 21, 22 year span or whatever. So that's a conversation you can't have with certain people.
Yeah.
Certain LeBron people.
They ain't ready for that.
If you ask me,
Man.
do I want to go to the championship, no matter if it's a game, whatever it is, if you say you want to go to the championship and win and just win for a long time, or do you want to go to the championship and just you go to the championship a bunch of times, you're still gonna get paid and everybody's still gonna love you and they still gonna buy your merch, but you just won't win all of them? I'm gonna say, man, I want the one that win in the shortest amount of time,
Right,
and hold on to it.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to play that long to get there.
Exactly.
You have to do that. So of course, like going back to LeBron, it's like if you play that many years, like they just made a big deal about him having the most 30-point games or whatever. But it's like if you play 100 years of basketball, you're gonna break records. That's why like Kareem was looking like. I mean, look how many years you played to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
You know, and I'm like, I'll agree with y'all because I'm like, what MJ accomplished, and going back to the, you know, we're gonna tie into the wrestling thing. So like, what MJ accomplished in 6 finals appearances, and never losing a finals series,
and possibly a 8-peat.
Right.
If he never left.
If he had never left, possibly, exactly. Versus you going to 10 straight finals. Now I'm sorry, and for anybody, I'm 45 years old, so I'm old school. When I played ball, when I wrestled, I wanted to win. I don't give a damn about no participation trophy. I wanted to win. I wanted to dominate you. If somebody was better than me, I'm going to sit up here and practice and play and do whatever I can till I get to that level and surpass you. Right. That's just me.
And you're not going to join up with them to win with them.
Right.
I want to bust your ass.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
So it's like, I'm not finna sit up here and join a team, go to team to team to team, and go to 10 NBA finals, and then you win out of that 10, you win what, 3, 4, whatever it is. And it's just like, how is that an accomplishment? Like, so you're praising this guy for losing.
Yeah.
So, and then like to tie back to the wrestling thing, you got John Cena that's on the verge of winning number 17. All right, and don't get me wrong, that's an accomplishment in and of itself. You a 17-time world champion, but that means you lost it 16 times.
Yeah.
Versus having a guy like Bruno Sammartino or a Roman Reigns that's held on to it for 4 or 5 years. And I get it's like, which one is the more dominant?
You know what I mean?